Lightning flashed brightly across the sky over Oyo Palace, lighting up the courtyard filled with fallen warriors. Fire crackled, swallowing buildings, and rain poured down heavily, washing over lifeless bodies. Thunder roared, shaking the ground as if the earth itself was angry. Among the chaos and destruction stood a strong, calm man. His glowing eyes showed no fear, only power. This man was Sango, a mighty king who ruled with fire, thunder, and justice. Many feared him. Many loved him. And all remembered his name. Long ago, in the village of Noop, a child was born who would change the world. His name was Sango. From the very beginning, everyone around him knew he was different. When he walked, clouds followed him. When he got upset, the wind howled and trees bent. Some said he was chosen by Olodumare, the great creator, and was given special powers. These powers made Sango one of the divine heads, a rare kind of being who could not be judged by others. What he said or did was final. As Sango grew older, he became stronger and wiser. He had no fear. One day, he walked into a sacred river and fought the river goddess. People watched in horror as the water turned red. When he returned, they said, "Sango, what have you done? You are guilty." But he calmly replied, "I am not guilty. I stand for justice." Another day, he entered a thick forest and killed a large elephant with his bare hands. The people said again, "You are guilty." But Sango said, "I am not guilty. I do what is right." News of his powers and courage spread far. In the powerful kingdom of Oyo, things were falling apart. The king, Ajoka, was weak. The people suffered, and enemies were closing in. But the real pain was within the kingdom. The rich and powerful lived in luxury while the poor suffered. The ruling class treated the people like slaves. Farmers worked day and night, but the king took everything they harvested. The elders of Oyo sent messengers to Noop, asking Sango to come and save them. Sango agreed. When Sango arrived in Oyo and walked through its villages, his heart was heavy. He saw mothers weeping over dead children. He saw old men begging for food. The palace was grand and full of gold, but the streets were full of hunger and sadness. Sango walked straight into the palace. The people watched in silence. He raised his hand, and a flash of lightning struck down from the sky, killing King Ajoka instantly. The crowd was shocked but said nothing. Sango sat on the throne. From that moment, he was king. Sango sat on the throne of Oyo, and his rule began with strength and action. He wasted no time. He called meetings with the elders, the chiefs, the farmers, and even the warriors. He listened. He punished the wicked and rewarded the kind. In weeks, things began to change. Food was shared fairly. Markets became busy again. Roads were fixed. For the first time in years, people slept at night without fear. But Sango ruled with fire and thunder, both in power and in spirit. His rule was feared and respected. No one could question his decisions. When he spoke, everyone listened. When he frowned, the sky darkened. People said he didn't need guards, his anger alone could strike down enemies. He was not just a king. He was a storm in human form. Sango had a weapon like no other. It was a magical axe called Os, given to him by his old friend, Ogun, the god of iron. Ogun and Sango had once been like brothers. They had gone to battles together and shared secrets. Both were divine heads, powerful beings chosen by Olodumare himself. But Sango was born of royal blood. His fire was different. Os was no ordinary weapon. When Sango raised it, lightning flashed. When he pointed it, fire burst forth. It was said that no man could face Os and live. It was the sign that Sango was not just a king, he was something greater. In the palace, Sango had 3 wives. Each one was important in her own way. Osen was his first. She was beautiful and kind. She cooked meals that could make a man forget his problems. People said her food was blessed. Sango loved her for her gentle spirit. Oba was his second. She was loyal and strong. She loved Sango deeply but often felt left out. She longed for his attention and would do anything to please him. Then came Oya. She was unlike the others. Wild, brave, and full of fire. She was once Ogun's wife, but Ogun had gone to war and hadn't returned for a long time. Many believed he was dead. When Sango took Oya as his wife, it shocked the palace. But their love was fierce. Oya became Sango's favorite. She could calm him when nothing else could. When storms raged in his heart, Oya's voice would bring peace. Her presence was like water on fire. She wore red like him and walked beside him in battle. She was not just a wife. She was a queen, a warrior, a force. Sango's favorite meal was onlodudu, dark yam flour, with bitter kola and palm oil. Whenever he was angry, giving him this meal could cool his fire. One day, Ogun returned from battle and found that his wife was now Sango's queen. The reunion was filled with silence, then anger. The 2 great powers clashed. For 7 days and 7 nights, Sango and Ogun fought. The skies burned with lightning. The ground shook with the weight of their anger. Many warriors died. But neither man could defeat the other. The fight ended in a draw. Out of respect, Ogun left the kingdom, leaving Oya with Sango. But inside the palace, peace did not return. Oba and Osun became jealous. They saw how Sango looked at Oya. How he smiled at her. How she sat beside him at meetings. They couldn't stand it. They began to plot. The 2 wives whispered lies about Oya. They told the servants she was cursed. They said she was the reason Sango had become colder. They told anyone who would listen that she would bring ruin to the kingdom. Oba, in her desperation, did something terrible. She cut off her own ear and placed it in Sango's meal, hoping it would show her love. But Sango was horrified. He cast her out of the palace. Some say she ran to the river and cried so much that her spirit became one with the water. That river is now called Oba. Osen, who had joined in the lies, was also cursed. She disappeared into the forest and became the river that bears her name today, the Osen River. But even after the others were gone, Oya found no peace. The words spoken against her still echoed in the halls. The looks from the guards, the silence from the servants, all of it wore her down. Sango, once soft with her, grew harder. His anger returned stronger than before. He trusted no one. Not even Oya. He spoke less. He frowned more. He paced through the palace like a lion in a cage. His hands shook with fire that no one could put out. Oya tried to stay. She tried to be strong. But the loneliness became too heavy. One night, dressed in red, she walked into the forest. She didn't say goodbye. She didn't look back. She vanished. The winds changed that night. Rain fell suddenly, without clouds. Thunder roared over the hills. People say she became the river Oya, her spirit flowing forever through the land. After Oya left, Sango was never the same. His fire didn't cool, it burned hotter. He spoke to no one. His footsteps echoed in empty halls. The laughter of the palace disappeared. The king who once ruled with balance now ruled with rage. And the kingdom began to tremble under his fury. The storm inside Sango was growing. And soon, it would break everything. As time went by, Sango grew increasingly suspicious of everyone around him. The betrayal from his wives and the loss of his beloved Oyo made him distrustful. Every whisper, every look, seemed to carry hidden meanings. The palace became tense and silent, with fear hanging in the air. To test the loyalty of his followers, Sango called upon his two strongest and most trusted warriors, Bonka and Okonji. He ordered them to fight each other, declaring that only one who proved his strength and loyalty could remain at his side. The entire palace watched in dread as the warriors stepped forward, their faces heavy with sorrow but obedient to their king's command. The fight was fierce, with both warriors displaying unmatched bravery and strength. Their swords clashed, echoing loudly through the palace grounds. Okonji, although valiant, was eventually overcome by exhaustion. In a final clash, Bonka defeated him, leaving Okonji lifeless on the ground. But instead of pledging loyalty after his victory, Bonka turned towards Sango with defiance in his eyes. He openly challenged the king, accusing him of cruelty and tyranny. This bold rebellion shocked everyone. Soldiers began to shout and take sides, quickly leading to chaos and fighting throughout the palace. Amid the confusion, Sango realized he had lost control. The betrayal felt deep, piercing his heart with anger and sadness. With nothing left for him in Oyo, Sango decided to leave. He traveled far away, seeking solitude in the town of Alaira, away from those who had turned against him. In Alaira, Sango prepared for a powerful ritual that Olodumare, the supreme creator, had granted him. Standing alone beneath a stormy sky, Sango raised his magical axe, Os, high into the air. He began chanting ancient words, calling upon the power of thunder and lightning. The sky responded with loud roars of thunder, and lightning flashed repeatedly around him. Witnesses from a distance saw a massive bolt of lightning suddenly strike the exact spot where Sango stood. When the light faded, Sango was gone without a trace. People searched tirelessly, hoping to find him, but there was nothing, no sign of his body or any clue to his whereabouts. His disappearance became one of the greatest mysteries of Oyo, leaving behind countless unanswered questions. After Sango vanished from Alaira, the people of Oyo searched day and night. But there was nothing, no trace, no weapon, no body. It was as if he had been taken by the sky itself. Soon, whispers turned into belief. Sango had not died. He had ascended. He had become a god. Offerings were laid at the spots where lightning struck. His axe, Os, became a sacred symbol. Drums beat in his honor. Flames were lit in his memory. His name was spoken in prayers for justice, for protection, for vengeance. People said he now lived in the clouds, in the roaring thunder, in the blinding flash of storms. When lightning split the skies, it was Sango's voice. When thunder shook the earth, it was his judgment. Wrongdoers feared him. The faithful praised him. Shrines rose across the land. First in Oyo, then in neighboring towns. Eventually, across the oceans. In Cuba, in Brazil, in Haiti, wherever his story traveled, his worship followed. The people abroad called him by different names, but the essence remained the same, a god who brings fire, who demands truth, who cannot be questioned. Even centuries later, stories of Sango inspired characters and tales beyond Africa. The comic figure known as Thor, another thunder god, was shaped from Sango's legend, colored differently but drawn from the same storm. Sango was no longer just a man. He was the storm itself. His story was not one of an ending, but a transformation. 100 years later, in a quiet village under darkening skies, a boy knelt before a stone shrine. He held a smooth black rock, Aduan era. It pulsed with warmth. Thunder rumbled above. Then a deep voice echoed through the air. I never died. I live in the storm. in the fire. In the fight for justice, the sky exploded with light. Rain poured. Lightning danced across the mountains. But the boy did not run. He bowed his head, knowing the truth. Sango, the divine warrior, still watched. He had become a god. And gods do not fade. They live forever, in flame, in thunder, and in the hearts of those who remember.